See if we can get this going again. What do we got here? What in the world do we got here? It's two mics. Like I had a guest. I did have a guest. They did not come. So I'm going to run a pod solo. I used to do a lot of these solo pods anyway. So, well, I mean, if you do it on the right side. Okay, we're figuring it out. Okay, we're figuring it out. Welcome to the Chronicles of Guero Phantasma. We're gonna do another pod about peptides. So let's talk peppers. Let's talk peptides. So it's been a while. Let's see if I can just give a little update. Jeez, there's a dog right here just being a monster. Fergie boy, I'm trying to run a pod out here. Okay. Anyways, so I'm trying to think of some progress. So at the beginning of my journey, I was 265, 29% body fat. And right now, I got down to 17%. That was my lowest. I mean, I'm using an in-body, right? So that is as accurate as it can be. Give me 1 second. So you can see my eyes, the glare. Trying to get enough light in here for this actually to look half decent. So, yeah, I went from 265, about 29% body fat, down to I got down to 217 and 17% body fat. Now, like I said, I was using the in-body, using that as a metric the entire time. So there was some progress there. With the use of peptides, I'm just gonna say whatever, ratatouille, and a few different ones. Tessamorelin was also another big help. This is for research purposes only, educational, entertainment. This is not medical advice whatsoever, so please understand that. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm telling you my experience with my research on my lab rat. Okay, so research. But Tessamorelin did help. I used it at the tail end, and in the beginning it was just ratatouille, and with that I was able to lose some weight and improve body composition. You got to be careful with these GLPs. Like some of them, they can be very powerful. Now the thing that I've seen and a lot of people say, I'm still hungry, so it's not working. Like that is, you need to get that out of your mind. That is not what you should think. Now, if it improves your cravings and you're able to, at your adherence to a diet improves, you're able to eat less, you still need to prioritize good foods because they will make you sick if you eat garbage foods because, it's going to slow gastric emptying. The food that you eat is going to stick with you, stay with you in your stomach a little bit longer. So you're not hungry. It's going to improve, everything. So Fergie boy, he's sniffing on my shoes, licking them. He's a foot guy, I guess. So, all right, back to it. So you just have to be careful with these things. And, hopefully the main goal is for these to be treated as tools. And if you're able to adhere closer to the diet and they help you get into a better routine and help you build better habits. So when you do take breaks or get off these things completely, you're able to utilize all the newfound habits. You're prioritizing protein, your eating habits, everything is improved. Now that's the whole goal of them. A lot of people do misuse them. They'll use them and then just abuse them and then eat whatever, drink whatever. Of course, you're going to have issues when you do that. So you really need to be careful with this. So if you're kind of just taking them and you're not wanting to change anything, you will gain the weight back. Now that's everyone says that because you're not improving on the habits that got you to where you were before you even started them. So that's really the whole point of them. I mean, they should be utilized as tools, and these tools help you build a better physique, a better body, better health, and then once you kind of get to that healthier spot, then you're more equipped to maintain it without them. Now, utilizing them, like I said, they can be very helpful. I experience a lot of different things. Ratatouille was just kind of my introduction. Actually, no, not Ratatouille wasn't my introduction. It was about the third one that I used. The first two were BPC 157 and TB 500. Those helped improve my inflammation. I'm chronically inflamed. I'm pretty sure I have an autoimmune disorder. I'm trying to figure that out. Also just not a fan of doctors, so it is what it is. And you try, you try getting answers on your own. It's not going to be easy. So I am going to try to go to some specialists, really just for a diagnosis, and then I could figure out, how to manage this. But there are a lot of peptides that actually improve, and the ones that I'm utilizing right now, because of an idea of what I do have, thymosin alpha 1, it improves your immunity and helps your body function better, your immune system. So, autoimmune disorder, it's when your body's basically attacking itself because there's issues there. And then the chronic inflammation, because of that, I took a break from BPC 157 and TB 500, but I am utilizing KPV, which helps your inflammation, basically the switch in your body for inflammation. It just helps balance that out. Obviously, if you got an autoimmune disorder, you're chronically inflamed. That's not normal. That's why I always laugh when people say like peptides are like, you should be able to do it naturally. It's like, dude, do what naturally? Maintain my chronic inflammation. Like, if I eat healthy and work out and do everything, I'm still in pain like crazy. So there's issues there. And that's why peptides are just more than just, GLPs and weight loss. Like, there's so many that you can dive into to figure out other issues. And, they are going to probably get utilized here soon in, the big P. And they're going to try to control them. So it's just, these research sites and stuff that you can get them off of. I'm actually affiliated with some, but I use them like crazy because they have been able to help me manage just my insane pains. I went to the doctor. They told me I had intercostal neuralgia, which is like inflammation of the nerves in your chest. I've had eye issues. My vision was messed up, and my nerves are really jacked up. So because of that, I've dove into the research of different peptides to see how I can help manage that. I'm running ARA 290 on my lab rat, and ARA 290 actually helps inflammation and, improves nerve health, and also you can actually grow better nerve production. I don't even listen. If you're here for the science, please look these up. I'm going to be adding snippets and information that kind of help me explain my points here. But it just seemed very promising with some of the issues that I was having. So ARA 290 is what I'm utilizing. Thymosin alpha 1, KPV, and then I've been doing GHKCU for a while. I really think that's improved like my skin and the elasticity in my forehead. I had a pretty crazy forehead wrinkles, and those have been slowly going away. But yeah, the GHKCU is also really good. I need to take a break from that one. I have been doing that one kind of a little long on end, and I'm going to go ahead and take a break from that one soon. But you just have to learn how these work and figure out how they can work for you, in your goals, your issues, things that you're dealing with. So those have been some. I'm trying to research these that have been helping my inflammation, and then I'm trying to actually put this information out. There are a few on my radar that I want to get into and experiment with. Cardilax looks pretty promising with some of my issues, and LL37. LL37 looked good, but I am kind of worried because, I don't know, it kind of seemed like there might be some conflicting things with my issues. And that's why this is really important for you to go over the research, figure out what these things can help improve, optimize, balance out in you, and figure out if those are your issues. So I always encourage blood work and really just being aware of how you feel and, where your issues are at. Because if it can help some of your symptoms, then you can consider utilizing them. If it's not, or you just don't even know why you want to do it because you saw somebody on the internet talking about it and you like the way they look, there's so much context that needs to be considered, right? I've said this before in a lot of my videos on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. Like, circumstances need to be considered, but you can't just look at someone, see what they're taking, and you look exactly like them because you start taking the same things. It's not going to be like that. There's so much to consider there. But the thing is figuring out your body, your circumstances, what you're dealing with, your issues, and then you can kind of come up with a game plan for yourself to figure out how you can, optimize yourself and improve some of these symptoms, some of these issues that you're dealing with in order to get yourself to a better place, health-wise, physique-wise, anything that you're kind of, your goals. So that's why it's really important to do the research, figure out what you want to do for yourself. A lot of people jump into this space and they're like, what do I take? It's like, what do you want to do? What are your issues? What are you dealing with? You really have to get to know yourself, and then you can kind of go from there. So it's something that I've, really learned to do, and it's been really eye-opening. So when people have issues or they're kind of like, hey, I'm kind of dealing with this or that, it's like, okay, well, I've done this, this, and that, and these have helped me. And it's your decision. If you end up wanting to figure something out like that, I help point people in the right direction, and then they make their decision, what they want to research with, and then they can figure it out from there. But, there's so many things that the medical field is limited to, or, only so many tools, we'll call them, that they use. And it's usually pharmaceutical grade compounds that they've created to assist in one area when there's a list of side effects that you have to worry about and consider moving forward, And I'll be honest, like, a lot of people, there's great videos that actually have been coming out recently that the FDA is considering removing them off the Schedule II list and making them probably available to be compounded in the US. And then you'll still need a prescription. So figuring out, just seeing that, understanding that now they're like, hey, I can't remember who was it, Robert Kennedy Jr. or whatever. He's the one that's kind of trying to get them off that list to make them utilized because he's a fan of peptides. Peptides are extremely amazing, and they are, made in your body. So derived from, different things in your body. So that's why a lot of them can't be patented. So that's why a lot of them, there isn't an incentive to be produced and used because they can't patent and control, like Eli Lilly is with these GLP-1s, Ozempic, tirzepatide, and now, they're trying to shut down research compounding sites from creating retatrutide because that is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar drug. So right now, there's ways of figuring out how to do it and get it and stuff, and for your research only, but a lot of people are utilizing them, and there are a lot of things that they're helping them with. I drink, I enjoy alcohol. I really do think that I've looked up information on how it kind of operates in my body when I do have the issues that I have, and there's an argument that maybe long-term drinking is probably maybe some of the cause, or at least aggravating some of the issues that I do have. But the immediate assistance that I do feel from it is just it relaxing my nerves. So a lot of my pains and aggravations do limit to, how would you say it? Like, they do, it's an assistance. Even if it's a brief period of time, it does still chill out the nerves to where my body can just feel calm for a little bit. It's not good. It's not, obviously a long-term fix, but I did try to wrap my head around understanding the mechanisms of alcohol and how and why they do what they do when I drink. Like, how is it working in my body? Why do I do feel a little bit better when I do? I'm not saying that this is good for anyone, but, for somebody with chronic inflammation, if they do have a drinking habit, honestly, like, you could look at that and be like, well, why? Like, why do they drink, So, because sometimes you don't even know. You just know when I drink, I feel a little bit better. Now, that's a slippery slope, obviously. And then, talk about alcoholism and whatnot. But retatrutide actually does help you manage even those systems, because it messes what the dopamine in your brain that you get from eating. It kind of, it manipulates that as well, the reward system, because a lot of people are eating to cope with certain things, and that's why they end up in a lot of the eating habits that they do have. So they're actually looking at retatrutide for possible addictions and helping them deal with addictions. I don't know what that's going to look like later, but the fact that it is being considered for those things is pretty phenomenal. So that's why it's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar company, and it already is, really, even just in the research space. Not trillion-dollar, but it's definitely up there. So they're trying to control it. Now, like I said, you just kind of have to look at these things like tools. Whatever you are dealing with, maybe it can assist in that way. So obviously just for research purposes only, but I do, at this point, when we're living in this world, it's tough, it's tough, and medications are expensive, and you have to go to somebody and tell them your symptoms. They don't really know how you feel, and sometimes you don't know how you feel. Like I said, you really have to develop an awareness of where you are at, where you're at, how you feel, your symptoms. They become normal. And then you just kind of think, sometimes I truly believe that you can just think, well, this is just normal. Like, I guess other people probably feel like this when they do these things. They get pain or this or that. That's just normal. A lot of these things aren't normal. So if you've been living that way for a long time, and then you go to the doctor for something, which I rarely do, and he asks, well, what's wrong? You're not going to remember everything. A lot of stuff has just become normal to you. So you're not even going to be able to address it or figure out the root cause of it. So I will also preach awareness, figuring out awareness of like how you feel, what's something that's kind of off, and really having these conversations to figure out where you stand with things and how and what you need to look into to improve these things. Because, the quality of life it's important. And if you're feeling like garbage, or you're in pain, or you're chronically inflamed, and that's your baseline, like, come on, and this is why, like, peptides are so powerful. And you can kind of, if you end up getting into the research of them all, and it's tough, because once these companies get their hands on them, they're going to be ridiculously expensive. And it's basically like anything else. Does your insurance cover it or not? It's crazy that health has become what's the word I'm looking for? Amenity. Yeah. Health has become an amenity, and health as a human should be, it isn't something that we should have to pay a high price for. We should have access to health as everyone. And, there's so many things that are working against us. This is why also the argument of, peptides or anything, you're cheating. It's like there's so many things in this life, in this world, that are working against us, right? The food, quality of food. The cheapest foods are the worst for you. Okay, well, if you don't have a lot of money, you're doomed to eat cheaper foods. And the cheaper foods are the ones that are going to trigger inflammation, make you extremely sick. There's MSG, all these things that are constantly making you sick or keeping you sick. And then if you don't really have the awareness of where it's coming from or why, there is no way to improve it. And then even if you go to the doctor and get some medication for your inflammation, you are addressing the symptom, but not the root cause. The root cause could still be your diet. If you're not improving that, it's just a constant cycle. You eat the food, it makes you inflamed, you take the medication, prolonged use of the medication creates more issues. You screw up your liver and all kinds of things. Then you have to deal with all that, and then surgery and whatnot. It's just, you're constantly just thrown into this, brutal machine that is just going to chew you up and spit you out. So you have to understand why you feel the way you do, figure out your diet, obviously creating better habits, eating, workouts, sweating, getting sauna sessions are great for just sweating out toxins. I always preach that. I do drink, but I also try my best to stay on top of lifting, working out, sauna, and all these things are going to help you basically just kind of operate in this toxic filled world that is designed to kind of keep you sick. And, we can get into conspiracy theories or whatnot, but the fact is understanding and accepting the circumstances, okay? There's some things that you can change, control those, change those. There's some things that you can't change, okay? If you can improve as much as you can, well, then you're in a better spot. Your baseline has improved. And then if you're able to utilize maybe some different peptides to help you improve even then a little bit more to make your circumstances a little bit better, then you're just going to improve your quality of life. And it's just, back pain and inflammation, all that stuff. If your quality of life is really bad, you feel like garbage, you're eating, really horribly, you're stuck in this pattern and you don't know where to start, where to go, but you're able to at least have awareness of it. Because what I've seen and people that have talked to me about being bigger or overweight, usually they don't understand where they're at and how far they've gone. They do feel hopeless and helpless, but they want to change, but they also don't feel that it's possible. So you have to sit down with yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, where am I at? How do I feel? Am I happy? Well, probably not. This is obviously that'll open a whole nother door of depression and all kinds of things that you feel bad. You feel down on yourself. You're not confident. You feel bad if you have a family. It limits your, the amount of energy you can put towards your family. So all these different things really have to be considered. So you have to sit down with yourself. If you're dealing with this, sit down with yourself, have yourself in a moment of awareness and say, where am I at? How do I feel? Okay, what do I do? What are my habits? What led me to where I'm at today? Okay, now let's create a game plan. If you're interested in, you feel like I am eating a lot. This is controlling me. You have to be real with yourself. A lot of people have told me, I'll tell you this is going to be, a lot of people have told me, well, I don't understand. Like I eat normal. I don't even eat that much. It's like, okay, I'm not here to tell you that you're lying, but are you? And that's not to make anyone feel bad, but it's to give you awareness. We need the reality check. If we're so far gone, there's a reason for it. And it is a vicious compounding effect because when you eat horrible, it messes up your insulin. You more likely have insulin resistance. So everything that you already eat, your body's not really able to, benefit from the nutrients if there are any nutrients that you're actually eating in your diet. If it's a lot of processed foods, sugars, all this stuff is just going to spike your insulin, make you feel like garbage, and then you're just going to feel, not spike your insulin, create insulin resistance, screw up your hormones, and then you're just in a vicious compounding effect that everything you eat, even if you get a couple days where you maybe were in a calorie deficit, where the quality of foods that you eat, your body probably wasn't even in a spot to even benefit from those nutrients. And 1 or 2 days, 3 days, even a week, you're not going to really see very much of a difference. And your body is so taxed from just dealing with the old habits that you aren't even really, you're not going to see it yet. You're not going to feel it yet. So the thing is creating the game plan and make these goals reachable for yourself, because once you start achieving these goals, you're going to be really happy with yourself. You're going to feel good. You're going to be motivated to do more good things. That's when the compounding of beneficial new habits will kind of come into play. And then instead of compounding the bad stuff to make you in a worse quality of life, literally the opposite is going to be happening. You're going to be compounding all these good habits, all these good achievements to make you in a better place and make you feel better, fit. You're going to feel better. Your brain's going to be functioning more because you're not inflamed from all the sugar that you're eating. It's just, you're going to be kind of in a better spot, and then it's just going to start improving from there. And then you create these better habits, you take them on with you to the future, and then you're able to kind of take a break from these. But these can really help you optimize what you are dealing with now. I've understood that and been able to benefit from them because of the research that I've been doing. So this is just the kind of a podcast to just talk about all this. And if you are dealing with anything like that, I'm sorry, and I feel bad, but you have to feel, if you feel bad, how do I feel good? What do I do to feel good? Create the plan, create the game plan to achieve this. If you have any questions, man, I'm here for you. I really do want to put myself out there, and I'm willing to, kind of just talk about it with you. But I will say this too. A lot of people want to talk about it, and you do get a dopamine spike from talking about all the good things you're going to do. You got to put it into play. You have to say, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm sick and tired of dealing with these issues. I'm going to create the plan and execute the plan to put myself in a better spot for me, my family, and all my loved ones around me, and it's just, better quality of life. So this is for research purposes only. You got to premise it. But yeah, man, the Chronicles of Guero Phantasma, Redefine Genetics. That is my brand. That is the code on most of these research sites that I use because it runs deep. Redefining your genetics. You're not predisposed to your circumstances, no matter how bad they are. You're going to redefine your genetics. Is that possible? Some people will say, no, it's not possible. And that's why I love the code. I love the word. I love the phrase, redefine genetics. The genetics, the one thing that they say, that's what you're born with. It is what it is. It's not in my genetics to be fit, to be jacked, I'm genetically disposed to be overweight or whatever it is. It's like, no. Redefine your genetics. Completely redo everything that you think is impossible, but you're finding a way to do it. So Redefine Genetics, baby. That's the brand. That's something that I still try to live with, and I hope everybody tries to adopt because it's a good message that you can kind of apply to your life and anything really, like, work-wise, everything. Just, I'm going to work beyond what I thought I was doomed. Like, the cards, you're not doomed by the cards that you're dealt, So do anything to overcome these things. And you have the strength in you. You just haven't created the plan or figured out that it is achievable for you, but it is. You can always improve your life. You just have to sit down with yourself, figure out that reality, and then move forward with it. So Redefine Genetics is here to help. It's here to stay. I do get really discouraged because I try my best to put myself out there, and the algorithms, they aren't really a big fan of health content these days. I wonder why. So there's a few vendors that I do work with, and I'm going to shout them out. I'm going to put them here on the screen. Orbitrex is a company that's really, really good, amazing customer service. Helix Pep. I know all the owners of these companies too, and they're very great people, and they have, very good morals. Like I said, I've worked along with them, and for a while, I know all the owners. I talk to them pretty often on social media, and just, I text some of them. They're, like I said, I'm very close to them. So I've had a couple issues with some in the terms of, product or whatever. It's not their fault, but, in transit, sometimes things might get the temperature or whatever kind of jacks up. So then when you reconstitute it, you might have some issues there. So I've had them be completely replaced. No questions asked. I just tell them, like, hey, this is what happened. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm looking at. I don't think this is usable anymore. No worries. They send you a replacement. So, there's good people out here that just want to see you succeed. And if you are interested in the research space, let me mention them again. Orbitrex, Helix Pep, Coffee and Peppers, and then Zen Aminos as well. So my code everywhere on all those sites is Redefine Genetics. And if you have any questions, I'm trying to make myself available to help people figure out their circumstances. That's really what it is, like some kind of consultation, right? So they can figure out where they're at, what their goals are, and then what they should look into, what they should research, what they should look into for themselves when it comes to figuring out if it's something that they are interested in. I'm not pushing anything. This is not me pushing this down anyone's throat. There's a lot of people in this space now that are like, everybody's pushing their codes. I truly want to see everybody just improve in their quality of life. Now, if that involves peptides, cool. If it doesn't for you and you're thinking, no, it's not something I want to do at all, I'm completely fine with where I'm at. I feel good. I feel great. Well, then I'm happy for you. I wish I had those circumstances as well. And I'm here for the people that are kind of in my same boat, so I can help share my experience, my journey, and if it ends up being something similar with them that they can improve and they can learn from and educate themselves and say, man, I'm so glad that I saw your video because I was dealing with this and now I've been able to improve it, then awesome. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help anybody who has issues, anybody who is really trying to figure out their issues and doesn't really know where to start. So those are the people I'm here for. Anybody else who it's a crazy space out here, and the people that talk bad about it, you really figure out what they're selling and they're pushing. It's another thing usually that conflicts with it, so figuring out people's motives is very valuable. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. The Chronicles of Guero Phantasma, guys. I love you guys. I wanted to do a podcast. I'm dog sitting right now for some friends. And reach out to me on social media. My TikTok handle is Redefined Genetics. And then I have another TikTok Enhanced RG. I'm experimenting with seeing what I can get away with on the other account because I seem to be targeted on my Redefined Genetics account and they just don't push out any of my content. So if you guys do follow me on Redefined Genetics, go watch the videos, literally go through my videos and see if there's anything that you can benefit from. Any questions you have, feel free to DM me. I do read the DMs, even if it's people that don't follow me. But if I don't know them at all and their questions seem kind of fishy, I will sometimes not respond. So just prove to me you're a real person and I will definitely help you as best as I can. So like I said, I appreciate you guys. It's a little 30-minute pod. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, I love you all. Redefine Genetics. Have a great day.